I want to change lives. I want to show people how to progress in their money. I want to show people how to progress in their mindset. I want to show people how to progress in their brand so that way they can take care of their family, take care of their finances, and experience freedom.
Man, oh man, am I excited. Today, I'm going to be bringing you a special guest, James Aquila. He's the CEO of Aquila Financial, and he is one of the fastest growing tax strategists in America. And I'm excited to not only have him be a partner on the Progression Conference National Tour, but also get to dive in deep into his brain today. Let's bring it up and let's give a round of applause in your mind for my main man, James Aquila. James, how you feeling today, man?
Man, I feel amazing. I feel awesome.
Amazingly amazing and awesomely awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm digging that, man. So, James, I met you. This goes to show how much the opportunity is in the show. Is it okay if I share the story?
Oh, yeah. Definitely, because that actually makes it even better, because how we met is a reason why networking is such a is a powerful thing. So go ahead, share the story.
So from my point of view, let's do this from my point of view, and then I'm gonna ask
as you work. Go ahead.
Interesting. So from my point of view, I'm in Arlington, Texas, right next to Dallas, and I'm promoting. This is when I was part of the Les Brown camp and that organization, and so I'm promoting one of their events, and I go on Craigslist and Eventbrite, and I find an opportunity at a restaurant, not a restaurant, but
it was a smoothie.
A smoothie bar. Yeah. A smoothie bar. And it says, hey, just show up in business event. So I show up in my suit and everything. I walk in. There's a round table, maybe 12 people. And we're sharing cards and sharing what we do. And we get a taste or a sample of the smoothie. And then we have the opportunity to buy. Then at the end of the presentation of that lady who just opened up her smoothie bar, at the end of her presentation, everyone's dispersing and leaving. James comes in to get a smoothie because this is one of his locations for a smoothie bar. Yep. I meet him, I connect with him. He shares with me what he does. We stay connected. I end up having lunch with him like the day after. And then I remember seeing a black man. I was like, man, to see a black man doing well, that's inspiring. And then a year passes, and then I come back to Texas. I host an event, and I had James be part of it. So, James, from your point of view now, what was the experience like?
Well, so first thing is that spot that we met, right? It was definitely, so I used the craziest thing is that the owner of that spot is he's also the black, him and that lady that was hosting the event. I go there. I go there every morning to get my smoothie from, right? And so what was funny was that when I showed up, of course there was an event that was happening. That's when we got the chance to meet. Got to start talking to you. Just hearing more about you and also what you do and stuff like that. I'm like, listen, I gotta get you over into my office and have you introduce you over to my team, right? So I think it was on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and I had a training that Saturday over at my office. I was like, why don't you go ahead and stop by, come say hi to my people, and also bring some of your books. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Right. So you came in, did an amazing job, got a chance to introduce yourself to my team and everything. And I just wanted to show people that, listen, when you're hungry and you're motivated and you have a passion, you can achieve anything that you want. And you being very young, because like, how old are you now? 24,
24, 25 now.
There we go, right? And so I'll be 33 on Sunday, right? My birthday is right around the corner, right? And so just the opportunity, like, hey, for us getting connected right away, and then be able to start building and just encouraging other people of our own, of our race to do more, right? And so and then a year later, you're like, hey, I'm gonna be in Dallas. I'm saying, no worry, I'll be there, right? and now here we are.
It just goes to show that when you show up for an opportunity, when you show up, you're bound to receive an opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I remember posting it on Instagram, and I declared it right then and there. I said, and if you scroll all the way down on my Instagram, you'll find it. It's a photo of me in a suit, and we're at the restaurant where I had a lunch with you at the mall. And
yep. I remember that one.
Yeah, and I just I said, hey, meeting with the president of Aquila Financial, seeing how we can work together in the future, and then we ended up working together. We did an event, now we're doing a national tour now, where we'll be in front of a lot of people throughout this year. And so share with me, what is Aquila Financial though?
Well, I would say this, because there's a lot of tax company out there. There's a lot of them, okay? And so what we are building is a culture of family, okay? So our clients is just not another number. They are our family. And so what we do a lot of time is that we prepare our people, we prepare our clients for their taxes, not just prepare their taxes for them. Right. So because we truly believe in education, teaching them, tax planning, different tax strategies and stuff like that. So Aquila Financial is more of a culture. It's more of a family. Because I take selfie with all my clients, right? They come in here and we take selfies. So the other day I was telling them, I said, listen, so we meet every year to take selfies. We just happen to do taxes, while you're here, right?
I like that.
So that's the culture we're building. So Aquila Financial is all about just serving the community, serving the family, serving people that and we are very, very big on entrepreneurship. I have in my office, I got a lot of business cards from all different business owners, entrepreneurs, because I'm always promoting other businesses. Okay, because the beauty about being in the tax industry is that our business is everybody else's business, literally. Okay, so you're in business, your business is my business. Okay, right?
So share with me the experience of you starting it, because you can't just wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm gonna open up a tax office, and I'm gonna share strategies with tax strategists. Like, you're a tax strategist, but you have a group of people on your team and on your executive team that does taxes for you, with you, on your behalf, for your clientele. Now, share with me the process that you had to go through to be able to get to the financial position that you're in, also the executive position that you're in running that organization.
Absolutely. So one of the things I did when I first started in the tax industry, it was more of I wanted to know how the tax law worked. I wanted to, because believe it or not, I always knew I was going to be successful. Regardless of what industry I was in or what I'm doing, I always knew that I was going to do something, that I'm going to be successful at. But taxes was always one of those things that I knew that I had to deal with, every single time, we make money. And so I remember several years back, a lady and her husband, they came to my house and they sat down and actually they prepared a tax return for me. And so I was amazed by how much I didn't really know about the tax industry. And so I asked them if they would be open to sit down with me, teach me a little bit more about the industry, allow me to learn the tax business. And so they were more than generous. They were more than happy to sit down and actually teach me the ins and out about taxes. So it took me about 3 years, okay, of just learning the industry. I wasn't in a hurry about building a business, because I believe confidence comes when you know what you're talking about. Right? When you sit down with someone and you know exactly what you're about, what you're talking about, you have a lot of confidence that comes across. And so that was what I did. I developed the confidence, I developed the knowledge, and then on my third year, we decided to start expanding. We started recruiting and finding individuals, that had no background in finance. And so I find that to be people that I love working with, because you can be able to to train somebody. It's a lot easier to train a brand new person than to retrain somebody who believes that they already know. They already know it, right?
Train a brand new person than someone who already has done it, has experienced it in the past?
Oh yeah, almost. I would say every single one of my people that has come in have been brand new. They didn't have any experience in the tax industry. They came in first year. We took them through the tax law. We took them through the whole system. So I take, and literally that's what I do, is I take somebody brand new, straight from the street, doesn't know anything about the business, and I teach them about the tax industry. And so now, and then the first year I always tell them, I said, look, before you can be good, before you can be great, you have to be good. Before you can be good, you have to be bad. Before you can be bad, you have to start, right? You have to start. So I was like, listen, let's start. And the beauty about the system that we have built here is that all of the tax return comes through me before it goes to the IRS. So that allows us to be able to minimize as much errors as possible. So when my brand new person is sitting down with their clients and helping them prepare the tax returns, they have the full confidence that I'm going to be looking at it or reviewing it before it goes up. And if there's something seems off, I always let them know, hey, I'll call Bobby, I'll call Head us and listen, I want you to reach out with them and explain to them why it's not correct, right? So we have a system that we built in place.
Okay, gotcha. So you had to go through you had to learn the business from yourself. So you had mentors and people who were teaching you.
Absolutely.
You went through the business yourself. And
Yep.
then that is what taught you the confidence or gave you the confidence to say, hey, I'm going to go and do it in my own company. And then James Aquila started Aquila Financial.
Exactly. So I literally went through the system. So every system that I'm teaching my people right now, I've gone through it, right? And so when they come to me, they're like, man, I'm struggling here. I said, listen, I've been exactly in your shoes. I know exactly what you're going through. And so just know this is how you handle that aspect. So I always feel like you got to lead from the front. And before you can lead from the front, you got to know, where your people are at. Okay, because you got to learn that. And I learned that from the military. Served 8 years in the Marines. So as I got out, I was a platoon sergeant, and so with that knowledge, I was able to actually cultivate the same culture or the same system into a tax business, right? So they always say, how you do anything is how you do everything. So get good, get good at something.
Get good at something. So you got good at taxes. Now, let me ask you this, man. You go in the military, like, why taxes? Taxes ain't a sexy thing. Like, I don't know if people wake up in the mornings and my goal is to taxes. Why taxes?
Man, I love that question. And I'm glad that you asked that question. So here's the reason why I thoroughly enjoy, doing taxes. It's all about freedom of time. Okay, it's all about freedom of time, because what caught my attention was that we live in the industry. You can make six figures in 12 months, or you can make six figures in 3 months. You see, it's all about time, right? You can decide if you want to make all your money in the first quarter of the year, or you want to do it all year round. So for me, I love to have time to myself to do what I want to do and be able to travel and so forth. And being in the tax business it provided me the freedom of time and also the financial support to be able to travel. So before, like for example, this in April, I'm gonna be flying over to South Sudan, to Africa. I'm gonna go see my family, again. And so on my way there, I'll stop over in Egypt for about a few days, and then go down to South Sudan. On my way back, I'll stop in Ghana before I come to back to America, right? So
the way you talk about travel, man. The way you talk about travel is like I'm gonna stop at the gas station on the way home. It's like, oh, I'm gonna stop in Egypt. I'm gonna pull up on you in Egypt. Where you at in Egypt? All right, and then I'm gonna stop in Ghana. Like the way you talk about travel is so inspiring, so invigorating.
And that's what having a tax business or being in the tax industry has allowed me to do. And so that's why I'm so passionate about working in the tax industry, because you make your income in the first quarter of the year, and then you get to literally live or be able to do what you love to do throughout the rest of the year. Okay, so I'm not all super, like all about the numbers. I'm thinking more about the freedom of time that allows me to be able to be me, right? So that is what gets me excited about owning a tax business. Freedom of time.
Freedom of time. Gotcha. And then, so let's talk about the branding aspect or the marketing aspect of the business. How important? So like for example, you're a speaker on the national tour. How important is it to build a personal brand where people know James Aquila and you're speaking on platforms like the Progression, in comparison to your counterpart or someone who else is in your industry, maybe 20 years, you're a senior in your industry and has their own tax office, and the way they market themselves is through the direct mailers and stuff like that, like the old way of marketing. How important has it been for you to build that personal brand and get on platforms like Progression?
Well, it's all about, exposure, right? People do business with people that they know or companies that they know. Okay. The reason why McDonald's is so successful is just driving by the street, you see the golden arc all over the place, right? You see that everywhere. And so it's all about branding. And so the more people recognize your name, the more credibility that that they associate your name to it. Because if they know who you are, then of course. And having a personal brand makes it more of a it makes it personable, okay? Because that's the thing at the end of the day is people want to be able to know that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
All right.
And so that's the thing, that's the culture that we build, and having and that's the brand or the culture that we're building, is that our clients, our family, they're more than just a transaction, right? They're more than just a transaction. So having partner up with you, being on stage speaking, it just builds a brand, or it builds recognition across the country. Okay, and so that now when we come to Philly and we open an office in Philly, somebody's gonna recognize. I remember Aquila Financial. I remember meeting that guy, talking to him. Right, I was like, yeah, look, they have an office over in Maine, or they got an office over in Nebraska. Things like that. Now it starts, the word starts to get out. So I know we still do the traditional mail, but what happens a lot of time whenever you get a mail when you get a mail and you don't recognize the name,
Throw it away.
just throw it away. Exactly. So that is what we're trying, that's what we're working on, is that when somebody sees us, they recognize the name. Now that they recognize the name, they're like, okay, hey, they're more than open to actually give us a chance, or give, and then if they didn't know who we were, okay? You can have the cure for cancer, but if nobody knows who you are or where you are, it doesn't matter.
Wow, that's powerful. So your marketing strategy essentially is that, hey, I'll go to New York and speak at the Progression Conference in New York, and then I speak, and then they see the logo, they see the story, they see your why, they see your business, and then you can do a direct mail directly in the post office, and then now they're like, hey, I saw James speak on the Progression, and now I see it here. Like you're saying that they'll be more open and inclined to do business with you because they've seen you in multiple arenas.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, because the power of social media nowadays is like, man, you can reach somebody all across, in New York or in California, and just off of social media. Just yesterday I had a client that called me right off of Google, right? They're like, hey, I read your reviews, and a lot of your clients have said great things about you, and so I wanted to give you a chance. The same thing as personal branding is all about, getting your business an exposure so people know that you are out there. Like I mentioned in the very beginning, there's thousands of tax companies out there. Some of them you may never heard of, right? But the one that we have, the reason why there's a lot of successful tax company out there is because, once again, if the more you hear it, the more it sticks in our mind. And so when it's time for you to do business, guess who you go to? The one that you remember the more, the one that pops into your mind.
So let's talk about taxes and money. What are some strategies and tips that you have for people who are, say, like, for example, they're six-figure earners and they're running their business they've been running their business they're between years 1 through 5, and they're six-figure earners in their business. And they're at the top of the industry. They're doing well. What are some tax strategies that you have for them to keep most of the money that they're making?
Absolutely. Using different tax vehicle shelters, things like the traditional IRAs, those are things that you can put money into that shelters your money, from taxes, right? If you're already in business, making sure that your company is properly structured. Because not just having an LLC does not mean that it protects you from the taxes. An LLC is just the same as a sole proprietor, right? So, of course, the difference between an LLC and a sole proprietor, individual, is just an LLC puts a protection between you and your company. So if you were to get sued, or the business get sued, your personal and your business does not intertwine. But on the tax side of it, though, you still get taxed the same, unless you decide to actually incorporate and actually get your business more on, have different tax entities in place. Things like, picking up or electing the S corp's filing status. Okay, that allows you to be an employee of your company. That saves you a lot of money on taxes if it's done properly, because you got to take the right amount of salary, things like that. Okay, having an S corp is definitely a good tax strategy. Making sure that bookkeeping. Listen, in our industry, as far for every business, having a good bookkeeper or keeping your accounts, balanced properly, it will allow you to stay in business long term. It allows you to be able to, because you got to know what's happening with your numbers. You got to know what's going on, right? So these are a few things that we can do. Making sure making sure you have the right election when it comes to your business, depending on where you are. So one of the things that we do all the time is we do an evaluation of every business that we sit down with to find out exactly what tax strategy works for them, because it's not a cookie cutting system. Not one shape fits everybody, right? So having a traditional IRA is always one strategy that I sit down with family, with people, especially they start making six figure, $250,000 or so. You want to make sure that they can put some funds into those accounts. Now, there's limitations, and there's some limitations depending on how much you make, of course, but everything is customized to the person. Making sure you have an S corp filing status, making sure you have different investment vehicles that can help shelter your income, making sure your books are done properly. These are a few things that you can do. Now, if you're only a W-2 employee, then always having a home-based business is a very, very major tax tip that you can do, because now you can be able to write off expenses that was not available to you in the beginning, right? So there's quite a few things that could be done. But majority of the time, we sit down with the client, evaluate their scenario, and then from there say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, this is based on what you have going on. This is the best tax strategies that can work for you.
Powerful. And then now, from a tax strategist point of view, what would be let's say, the strategy or scenario, best case scenario that you can share with someone to make more money? Because now we're coming from a position of how do you keep the money, but how, from a tax strategist perspective, how can an entrepreneur make more money?
How can they make more money? Start a tax business.
I love it. So I want to learn about that opportunity too, because I see some tax strategists making some good money, man. So I'm interested to learn about that model. But right. Also, you have a strategy or a scenario that you can tell someone like, hey, you got to do this to make more money.
Right. So a lot of time when I'm sitting down with a client and they don't have a business on the side that they do, I always recommend that. I tell them, say, listen, the tax law is written for business owners. Because if we got to go back a little bit. Over 100 years ago, okay, about 95% or 90% of the people actually own their own business. They work for themselves. Okay. And then, and they work for themselves. You talk the blacksmith, the mom and pop, the barber shops and things like that. They do a lot of barter trade back in those days. And then now you fast forward, 100 years later, 90% of people work for somebody and 10% own a business, right? So the tax law is, it benefits people that actually have their own business, right? If you notice, a lot of the politician that goes into office, they have companies who supports them, and the reason being is because they want to make sure that the right the right law is passed to benefit their companies and stuff, right? So one of the major tips I tell people all the time, I say, listen, the people that pays the most taxes are the uninformed. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So the people that pay the most taxes are uninformed. Are the people that are uninformed?
The one that are uninformed. Yes. Okay. So these are even, so it's not really about how much money you make. It's really more of how informed are you when it comes to your, taxes and tax regulation. The people say that the rich don't pay any taxes. Well, that's because they're well informed, right? And the rich says the poor don't pay any taxes. So there's always one blaming the other. But I always say this: those who pay the most are the one who are uninformed. Okay, so get informed. And the way that you do that is, from January to December. Tax time, like this time around the time, all we're doing right now is data reporting. We're reporting what we have already done. Okay, so that's why tax planning is so important and using different strategies. But to answer your question, as far as what can somebody do to make more income, listen, there's a lot of different opportunities out here. Okay, and that's one thing, especially being an immigrant coming to America, right? I was 11 years old when my parents brought me here into America, and one thing I've realized is that when we are here, we get immune to how much opportunities and how that is actually right in front of us. Because if you go outside the country for one time, okay, and then come back and just realize how much America is literally, how you can be successful at almost anything that you decide to. If you have noticed, a lot of immigrants that come here within 2 to 3 years, right? They either already have a home, they already got a business that they're doing and stuff like that, right? And so the question is why? Well, because when they came here, they realized how much more that they are now able to actually accomplish versus where they were before. So the question is not really what can somebody do. My suggestion is find something, because there's a lot of opportunities anywhere, everywhere. And one of the things I love about progression conferences is that Andy, you bring a lot of different entrepreneurs to the table, right? You bring a lot of different businesses to the table, and you have an audience. And so my encouragement to everybody who comes to the conferences is that don't just come, and just sit there and listen. Come and be like, okay, what can I take, from this that can catapult me to the next level? How can I use the connection and the relationship that I have, that I've witnessed, that can take me to the next level? Because it's really not about what you know, it's about who you know. It's about who you know. Like Andy, listen, you knew a lady, right, from the from the car, from the smoothies, joint that I happen to know. Because the mutual connection, here we are, so a year or so later, here we are doing a podcast together, we're going on a tour together. Chances are we will never have met if that connection was not
there. Hey, James, I just realized, man, it's been 2 years.
You see how fast time goes by?
Yeah, it's been 2 years. 2018 is when I was out there.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years. So, and just so you know, there was a young man who was at the Progression Conference where you were there, and they were inspired by you. They went and started their own business after hearing you speak. So,
man, that's good.
It's one of those things that. So I'm fortunate to be the one to get the report back, about the people who've started businesses after Progression Conference, who've gone and excelled after. So I'm fortunate to get the report back. So there was a report after hearing James speak, seeing what you've gone through, and saying, hey, I connect with that.
Yeah.
Now, so speaking of, let's talk about the difference in America. You came to America as an adult from Africa, correct?
No, I came I was 11 when I came here, right?
You were 11.
Yep, I was 11. So I literally had, I'll tell you this, okay? Growing up in Africa, I grew up in Congo. I was born in South Sudan. I grew up in Congo because we had a civil war that was happening at the time in South Sudan. So, I pretty much lived in a refugee camp in Congo, right? So from the age of 2, 3, all the way till I was about 7 or 8 is, that was my, my life as a refugee. So every month we had government trucks that come in, bring us food and stuff like that, right? So when you grow up, here's what I've realized is that when it's hard, okay, when life is hard and you're not given everything up front, your creativity comes into play as far as your survival skills come into play as far as what you need to do. And what I've seen with a lot of immigrants that here in America is that when they come into the country, they've already have to struggle, right, just to get the bare minimum. It's like, listen, if I wanted to get if I wanted fresh water here, I just turn on the faucet, right? I just turn on the faucet. I have the water that I want, or I just go get me a bottle of water from the store, and then boom. But a lot of time that's not the case for different immigrants around the world. Sometimes somebody has to go a whole an hour just to go fetch water and then bring it home so they can have fresh water. So when that happens, guess what? When they come here and they can be able to get water straight from the store, guess what happens? That creates a sense of, okay, I can do so much more just from the preparation that I've already have with everything else that is completely available to us right now. So the U.S. is definitely, the reason why they call it the land of opportunity is because it truly is a land of opportunity.
So you're saying just something that's, because my parents came from Haiti, but you know the stories that I've heard is limited, and I was born in the United States, so I have a different experience. But
Right.
I have a lot of people around me who are they're immigrants that came to the United States either at a young age, my cousins at a young age,
Yeah.
or who are much older that share with me. So, but this is the first time it's going in depth like this. So you're sharing with me that small experience of seeing water or being able to do some work and be able to get water innately ingrain something in your head saying, if I just do the work, I can get whatever I want.
Listen, there is no substitution for hard work. There's none, right? And so that's one of the things is that you can have anything that you want if you're willing to do the work. Okay, if you're willing to do the work. I see it so much as that people want a reward before they put in the work, and then they get frustrated because they're not getting the reward. And the question I'm always asking is that, okay, well, where's the proof that you should have what it is that you're asking for? Okay, you got to make it so obvious that you want to be successful. If people were to look at your calendar, can they convict you of actually wanting to be successful? Okay, could they do that? And
So I like that you said you got to make it so obvious because now that changes things for people. I never heard of that. Like all my years of personal development studying, I've never heard of you got to make it so obvious that you want to be successful, because now it changed the perspective. As soon as you said you got to make it so obvious, I think in my life it's obvious because I explain it to the whole world, and whoever is in my circle knows like I'm pushing for this. However, what about the person who's at home and has the same aspirations that you and I do of success and progression and growth and going to the next level? Are they not making it obvious? I never heard that before. Like you should put that on a t-shirt. You got to make it so obvious, you know?
So, everybody's level of success is completely different, right? So you got to ask yourself, like, what does success mean to you? A single mom that is at home, and that her success is that I want to make sure my kids are well taken care of and that they grow up to be, great with morals and things like that. They make it obvious by instilling in those children, a good character, good work ethic, and things like that. That's making it obvious, right? And so all of it, making it obvious, once again, is that we cannot compare one industry or one person's work ethic against another, because those may not be the same. Those may not be the same, because at the same time we have our own different lanes and different goals that we're trying to reach. Okay, so but when I say make it obvious, first thing first is you got to make it obvious to yourself. You got to understand, okay, what is it do I want? What is it that I want? And what is it am I willing to do to get what it is I want? So you and I, Andy, the good thing.
What is it you want, and then being clear on what you need to do to get what you want. And is everything take action?
Take action. Well, listen, there's this saying that, our prayers are not answered by the movement of our mouth, but it is answered by the movement of our feet. Right? You see, they're saying
a lot of nuggets today, man. You're talking a lot. So it's not, our prayers are not answered by the movement of our So our prayers are not answered by the movement of our mouth, but by the movement of
our feet. That's the same thing as making it obvious. You said, okay, hey, I want this. Give me one second.
As James is sharing and handling his phone call, listen to what he's saying. Listen to the words that he's saying, and really have an understanding of how it applies to your life. Everything that he's saying, I'm looking at it from an inward perspective and saying, how does it apply? Even though I'm the one interviewing him, I'm still asking him, how does it apply to my life? Because, hey, is my desire to be successful? Is it obvious? I want you to ask yourself that. Is it obvious, number one? And are you expecting a prayer to be answered from the movement of your lips? So many times I got on my knees and I pray to God, and I'm like, where is it coming from? And knowing damn well I need to take action in a certain area. And it's like, that's that check mark. Like I got, like James just checked me right now on, hey, are you just praying by your lips or are you praying with your feet as well? That's an interesting, like, pray with your feet. Like, that's like, oh, man. Pray with your feet.
You have to, because, think about it. A lot of time we pray, and we pray the same prayer multiple times, right? And one of my mentors said that, when you want something, pray one time, okay? And then go to work. Because if you come back and pray again, the devil's going to think you didn't believe it the first time you prayed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pray, so literally when you know what you want, pray one time and then go to work and go forward. That's where the same thing as far as making it obvious. And so that's what we've been doing, literally is, in our, in the a tax business, once, earlier you asked, was like, what makes the tax business so successful? Let me take this call real quick.
And as James is sharing, yes, look, man, I got to tell you, he's dropping some nuggets right now. He's dropping some powerful nuggets that, number one, make it obvious. It's like a spiritual, I forgot the saying. I know there's a spiritual saying, but it's like, write your vision and make it plain. And,
Habakkuk.
Say that again?
Habakkuk. I think it's a Habakkuk. Write your vision, make it plain. That those that see it can run with it, right?
Those that see it can run with it?
Yes. It's a Habakkuk. I forget the verse, but I know the book that verse is in. I remember that verse.
And what you're saying is hey, there's to pray about it. Because James, man, I talk to a lot of Christians, man. I'm a Christian myself. I'm a believer. I'm a God-fearing man. But I talk to a lot of Christians who I think that what they're doing is they're throwing the responsibility of growth of their responsibilities in life, throwing it up to God and saying, I'm waiting on God's timing. Like for example, my part of my business, I train speakers on how to grow their speaking and get to bigger platforms. And there are potential clients that I talk to that they kind of share with me that they are attracted to the offer that I make them of the training that they're going to go through. They're attracted to the opportunity, and they're all for it. And as soon as I share a price point, it's like, oh, you know what? If it's for me, God will make a way for it to work. And we talk about the finances. They have the finances. It's just like the mindset is that, hey, I'm waiting. Like, I don't have to pay for an opportunity. God will provide one. And
no, I hear that.
About that, man. What do you think? Let's from who I consider an elder, old head that I learned from. What do you think about that?
Now, first of all, I'm only 33. Okay, so
Nah. Shoot, man. Let me tell you something. An old head, to me, an old head could be someone, man, who's 6 months older than me, man.
Right. Okay. No, I see that a lot, though. I see that a lot because the thing is like I grew up in church. I grew up with my father is actually, he's a pastor, right? And what I have seen, because I always question, okay, why are the people in church, okay, always struggling more than the people that are out of church?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I was always, trying to figure that out because I found that there's a disconnect, personally, my own personal observation, there's a disconnect between, taking responsibility for what God has already given you and giving and putting the whole responsibility on God. The thing is like, if we were to look at a farmer, that's a perfect example. You see, a farmer, he has to do his part. God add the increase. God is the one who's gonna, allow the seed to germinate and to start coming back up. But God is not gonna make your hand go out there and throw the seeds in the dirt and put that first part. See, we have to be able to take responsibility into our own hand and say, look, okay, if God's gonna provide a harvest, He's gonna use me to be able to plant the seeds and then water the seed, and then from there the harvest will come.
Yeah.
we look at nature and we look at everything. Us as mankind, we're the only one who can be as big or as small as our mind allow us to. Okay, we can be as big or small as our mind allow us to. So the thing is that we gotta pray with our feet and not just our mouth. We gotta be able to, because when we pray, we acknowledge that God has already given to us what it is that we're asking for, and then whenever we work, we are actually now taking what actually belongs to us. Okay, so it's like, okay, if we believe that He has already given it, so why are you not taking it? You don't just go and you got to take it by action. You got to move, and then you got to go out there and work and receive it. Okay. So that's where, like when I talk to my Christian friends, I say, listen, faith without works is dead. We hear that all the time, right? But, it's like we hear it, but then we don't want the responsibility. That's the thing I found out, is that we don't want the responsibility if life doesn't turn out the way that we wanted it. We want to blame somebody else instead of ourselves. So the fact of looking in the mirror and say, you did this, okay? Like there's an old story in the Bible where, David sinned, and Nathan, which was the prophet at the time, looked at David and told him, thou art the man, like you did this, right? It was like, he was telling the king that the king was at fault, right? And so it's a very powerful scene in there. And so the same thing is that we got to take responsibility for our life. And most people don't want to do that. And the moment that you decide, the moment you start to take responsibility, hey, the reason why I didn't close that sale is because I didn't make that phone call. Or I didn't make enough phone calls. Okay, hey, I wanted 100 clients. Well, did you call 1,000 clients? Because if you call 1,000 clients, you'll almost guarantee yourself to get at least 100, even if you're really, really bad. Okay? Right. So it is all the principles. Like, there's no substitution for hard work, and that's the same thing in life. If you want something, you're gonna have to go out there and get it, and God is gonna add the increase. He's gonna put you in the right position. The crazy thing is, in my mind, I always had this vision of actually speaking in front of people, right? On stage, yeah. Right? And then guess what? I started going to this smoothie shop one time, right? And just happened to meet this kid one time, very young guy, right? All of a sudden, he turns out to actually have a whole platform that he speaks to, individual. And look, but guess what though? Each one of those steps, we had to take action, right? We had to take action. I remember whenever last year when we were talking, and then you were like, hey, we had to take action, and you presented to me, what is it going to take to make this work? I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, if I was not meant to, guess what? The door would never been even open, or it would never been.
Ask that from a different standpoint, right? Mm-hmm. Because yes, the vision was there. The vision was there. Why do you, in your mind, recognize? So prior to us doing the deal, there was an investment that you had to make. And but we were talking. That's essentially what you were relating to or laying to.
Right. Exactly.
There was an investment. Why did you not say? Because you made the investment. Why did you not say, you know what? If it's my time, I should get it for free or something of that nature. If it's my time, the door should open wide for me automatically, and I do have to make an investment or put into work.
Well, here's the thing. I believe that experience is what you get when what you want don't come to pass.
Experience what you get.
Experience is what you get.
What's that again?
Experience is what you get when what you want doesn't happen.
Experience is what you get. Because you're giving a lot of quotes on here, man. Experiences is what you get
when you don't get what you want. Okay, when you don't get what you want. So what I mean by that is, let's look at it. Okay, let's say we go through the whole conference, and what my intention doesn't come to pass, or whatever the case is. But I was able to meet a lot of great entrepreneurs. I was able to network with a lot of great people, got to work on my speaking and, my speaking experience, right? And so what I know is the person who's going to be going on this conference at the end of the year is not going to be the same person talking to you right now, right? Yeah. I'm going to be somebody completely different. And so that's going to be the experience of actually having to go to these different cities and talking to this, different people and interacting with everybody. And so what happens a lot of time is that we are so afraid to fail that we fail by default. See, I'm not afraid to fail. It's okay if I fail.
Oh my fucking goodness, though. So you said, this podcast would have been over by now, man. But you talking some good stuff, man. So you're saying, hey, Team Audate, whoever's editing this podcast, man, I want y'all to edit this up and put the pieces in the beginning, all the good content. Look.
Okay.
So what you're saying is that, because I have a team who edits. So what you're saying is that sometimes we as humans, we're so afraid to fail that we self-sabotage and fuck it all up ourselves.
We sure do. Yeah, because we want things to be the right way. We like, okay, it has to be right. The thing is that you make it right. You make the choice right. So whether you say, okay, do I go left or do I go right? It don't matter. Just pick a choice. Go right and make it right. Okay.
But what about if you're constantly? What happens if you're constantly making these decisions,
right,
one after the other? It's not like terrible decisions like fuck up your life, but it's just like, okay, hey man, I might have made the wrong business move financially in that aspect, or I might have hired the wrong person, and you're constantly going through challenges, but you're still experiencing some wins, but it's like a constant challenge after challenge after challenge. What do you do in that moment? Because many of us are gonna slow down.
Right. So have you ever heard? I use this concept a lot. It's called running on quicksand, right? So when you run on quicksand, it's like you're not going anywhere. It doesn't feel like you're going anywhere. But what's happening to you though? What's happening to your legs? They're getting stronger, right? They're getting stronger. So every decision that you make, it has to be, some sort of a learning experience that you learn from it. Okay. So when you're running on quicksand, you're getting stronger. And then guess what? All it takes is one opportunity or one chance. And then all of a sudden, they set you on the right track, and then boom, you take off, and people are like, whoa, where did he come from? And they forget all of those years of that one bad mistake after bad mistake after another one. And they forget that all of those played a role. Because, before I started my tax business, I think I failed in like 6 other businesses. Okay. I started one. It didn't turn out the way I wanted to. I started another one. It lost a lot of money. I started one back in 2014. It was a network marketing business. And like within 2 weeks, we probably invested like over $75,000 into this business, right? And then all of a sudden, it just it just disappeared, right? Wow. So we lost all of that. But guess what? A lot of people that we met through those businesses, when it was time for me to build a tax business, all I did was I reached out to everybody. I said, listen, guys, okay, we've done this, and this. None of it worked. Okay, we got a tax business. People, people ain't going nowhere. They got to file their taxes every single year. They have to take it to somebody. Okay, and it's a business that is very lucrative. So let's give it a shot. So we all came together, put our head together, and then boom, this one worked. But if we didn't go through all of those other experiences to get to here, guess what? This would not have happened. So every decision has a seed that is planted there that gets you to the next opportunity. Okay, so don't be so afraid to make a decision. Just make a decision and make that one the right decision. Okay, God never intended for us to be perfect. He just, we are here to make one decision after another. Every decision leads to another decision, and that decision leads to another. The question is, if you're happy with the outcome, great. If you're not happy with the outcome, the beauty about it is you are the one that is in charge. The moment that you take responsibility for your life, then you know that every decision that happens, you are responsible for it. And if you don't like it, change it. But what happens a lot of times is people put that all on God's hand. And so, okay, God, take the wheel. Well, when the wheel goes right or left, but because you are not in control, you don't like either one of the outcomes. Well, you wound up here. Well, did you want it to wind up here? No. Okay, well, you took what life gave you. You had nothing to do with where you are right now. And so if you're happy, great. If you're not, it all happened by an accident, according to you.
Wow.
You know, so when you take responsibility for yourself and every action that happens, that's the thing, you know, it's not taking away God's responsibility in your life. It's like, no, because the Bible talks about that God created us in his own image. So what does that mean? If he created us in his own image, therefore we are able to also create what we see, right? So everything that we see around, the life that you live, you created it. You know, whether you like it or not, you made it into existence. You know, you had a vision, Andy, to have a progression conferences. Things that are happening right now is happening because that was the vision that you had. And then all of a sudden, different pieces of life started to come together to make that vision a reality, right? So it all started in our mind. And there's this book, they say that the hardest thing for man is to think. You know, we don't like to think. That's why we got social media to get away, to escape. We got, you know, Netflix to just sit at home and then just, you know, escape. We want to escape so much because we don't want to listen to our thoughts. And the people that don't want to listen to our thoughts is because they don't want to take responsibility for where they are right in their life. You know, a lot of the most successful people I know, they like to spend time to themselves, read books, work on what's in here because that's where they know everything starts in the mind, right? Everything starts in the mind. Yeah. So why a tax business? Listen, it buys us more time. You know, it gives us, you know, 3 months out of the year, and then you got 9 months to be able to you know, to work on yourself, become whoever you want to be, right? Seriously.
Brother, this is so powerful. This podcast has been one of the shows. You know, I do a lot of shows. I mean, this is my third of the day. You know,
Yeah.
I do a lot of shows, man, and I mean, this entire week is like 3 to 2 podcasts a day, back to back, even on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And this one specifically really spoke life into me. And I hope it does the same for the audience members who's going to see that, whether it's on iTunes, Spotify, or on the YouTube or Facebook, wherever I post this.
Yeah.
And I'm truly excited to have you on the national tour. Can you share with me what shall we expect from you to be training on at the Progression Conference? Because you're on the entire tour. So what would we expect from you, whichever city that the people show up to?
Right. My biggest the message that I'm bringing is that of course, since I own a tax business, is having a virtual tax company all across the U.S. A virtual tax business, so you can have your 9 to 5 job, and then also have a tax business that you run directly either at home, or you can actually rent a virtual office, you know, in any major city and be able to make, you know, 6 figure within 3 months time frame. I want to stress this, that it takes time and it takes effort. Anything that we do, you got to put all your very best into it, right? So my message is clear. It's just that, one, I'm expanding my business across the nation, and I'm looking for really great entrepreneurs. I'm looking for like-minded individuals, because that's one thing I realize is that we attract who we are. Okay, I'm not really, you know, coming in. I'm not really coming to try to sell anybody on as far as, okay, hey, why did you do something? I'm looking for people who are just as hungry as I am, so that I believe that together we can build something even greater, right? And so by building that, we can both have the freedom of time to be able to travel, because that's, you know, I would love to take a group of people to like Tanzania or Ghana or South Africa or something like that. I'm like, hey, let's view the world from a point of view of freedom, right? And so that is really where my message is. It's just we got the opportunity to build a virtual office all across the country, and I want those who are looking for something very similar for us to link up. Let's build, and let's see how big we can build this business. You know?
And this show has been powerful. James, thank you so much. How can people get in contact with you? They'll see you on stage at the Progression Conference, but how can people get in touch with you?
Okay, awesome. So best way to reach me, of course, is always, you know, give me a call. All right, so you can call me at 817-374-5049. You can also send me an email, which is Aquila at AF Tax Services. Okay, Aquila AF Tax Services.com. Right, so you can reach me either way, or just type my name, James Aquila, on Facebook. You know, I believe I'm the only one maybe. Right? If not, James Aquila tax. If you put taxes next to it, boom, I'm coming out. I'm coming.
Aquila is Aquila. James, thank you so much for being on the show, brother.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.